The world of reality TV has never been short on scandal, but this one is shaking the foundation of everything fans thought they knew. Whispers are spreading like wildfire, and the center of it all, Yandy Smith. Yes, the woman often praised for holding her family together is now at the heart of an explosive baby scandal that's pulling in names no one expected. Kirk, Frost, Rasheeda, and of course Mindy's allegations are swirling. And while nothing has been confirmed, the chatter alone has left fans completely divided. Is this just another messy rumor stirred up for attention? Or is there a shocking truth hiding beneath the surface? Emotions are running high, friendships are crumbling, and marriages are being tested in ways that no one saw coming. Sources claim there's a secret affair, late-night arguments, and a baby at the center of it all. But the most jaw-dropping part, the possibility that Kirk and Rasheeda, known for weathering their own storms, might now be entangled in Yandy and Mendeecees' drama. Fans are asking, how far will this go? And what happens when love, loyalty, and betrayal collide in the public eye? The whispers began in the quiet corners of Atlanta's social circles, moving like smoke before a wildfire. At first, it seemed unbelievable that Yandy, often painted as the strong woman holding her household together, could be tangled in something this messy, but the murmurs grew louder, spreading across social media feeds, creeping into gossip blogs, and finally landing on the lips of fans everywhere. And the center of these whispers was not only Yandy, but also Kirk Frost, the man long known for testing his wife Rasheeda's patience with his wandering ways. They say it all began during a cast trip where cameras weren't even rolling. Yandy was spotted in what many described as too close for comfort moments with Kirk. Fans who claim to have seen them together recall subtle touches, exchanged glances and laughter that seemed to cross the line from friendly to flirtatious. Nothing was captured in clear evidence, but in reality TV, perception is everything, and perception was enough to light a match. When Rasheeda first heard about it, she reportedly brushed it off. After all, she and Kirk had fought through worse storms. So when she had no interest in entertaining what she thought were baseless rumors, but then whispers began to tie a bigger twist into the story. Not only was there talk of closeness between Yandy and Kirk, but also of a pregnancy, a secret that could unravel everything. In one alleged confrontation, a friend close to Rasheeda claimed she broke down in private. If this is true, if there's even a piece of truth in it, then everything we've built is being mocked. She was overheard saying, her voice shaking with anger and heartbreak. The tension between her and Kirk grew thick. Fans online pointed out that Kirk suddenly looked more reserved than usual, as if carrying a secret that weighed heavier than any camera could capture. Mendeecees, on the other hand, wasn't staying silent. The man who had always been protective of Yandy was suddenly losing control of his temper. Insiders say he confronted her in the middle of a heated argument, his voice rising as he demanded answers. "Tell me straight," he allegedly shouted. "Why is my name being dragged into the mud for something you started with, Kirk?" The fight was said to be explosive, with doors slamming and voices echoing through the house. Neighbors nearby even reported hearing the clash, though no one knew the full details of what was said inside those walls. But the rumors didn't stop there. The story continued to spin, dragging Rasheeda further into the chaos. She found herself torn between her loyalty to her husband and the uncomfortable suspicion that maybe, just maybe, there was some truth hiding behind the gossip. One evening, she reportedly sat down with a close friend and whispered, "Every time I see Jan now, I can't help but wonder what really happened. Did they cross a line, or am I letting my past with Kirk poison me?" The public, of course, had its own theories. Fan pages lit up with accusations, speculation, and fiery debates. Some defended Yandy fiercely, calling the scandal nothing more than a fabricated attempt to tear down a woman who had already endured so much. Others were convinced the affair was real, pointing to every suspicious detail as proof that where there's smoke, there must be fire. Meanwhile, Kirk remained unusually quiet and in his silence. People found even more reason to suspect guilt. He's not denying it, not even trying to clear his name. One fan wrote online, "That's all the confirmation I need." But those who know Kirk best argued that his silence was nothing new. He had always been the type to let rumors swirl until they eventually burned themselves. The scandal reached a boiling point when all four of them, Yandy, Mendeecees, Kirk, and Rasheeda, were seen together at a public event. Cameras captured the tension that no one could hide. Yandy's forced smile didn't reach her eyes. Mendeecees stood stiff by her side. Kirk kept glancing at his phone as though desperate for a distraction. And Rasheeda barely acknowledged anyone in the group. Fans watching the footage replayed it endlessly, dissecting every facial expression, Every uncomfortable pause. According to eyewitnesses, the atmosphere turned icy when Rasheeda finally broke her silence and addressed Yandy directly. "You know what they're saying," she said in a low but firm voice. "I need to hear it from you. Is any of this true?" Yandy reportedly froze, her lips parting, but no words coming out. Mendeecees shifted uncomfortably, and Kirk's eyes darted toward the floor. The silence that followed was louder than any denial could have been from that moment. The rumors weren't just rumors anymore. They had become a public spectacle, fuel for every gossip blog and reality TV commentator. Fans were left stunned by how quickly friendships unraveled, how easily trust cracked under pressure. Some said Rasheeda had every right to demand answers, while others believed Yandy was being unfairly cornered in a situation where she might be innocent. Behind closed doors, sources claimed the arguments between Mendeecees and Yandy grew even more intense. "I stood by you," he reportedly told her during one late-night fight. "I defended you against everyone, but now I don't even know who I'm defending anymore." Yandy, fighting back tears, allegedly responded, "You think I would risk everything we have for Kirk? You think I'm that reckless?" But Mendeecees wasn't convinced, and his anger began to fracture the image of unity they once showed the world. Rasheeda, meanwhile, confided in her inner circle. She spoke of sleepless nights of replaying every conversation she'd ever had with Yandy, searching for hidden meaning. "I thought she was my friend," she admitted. "But now I feel like a fool." Kirk, trying to smooth things over, insisted there was nothing real behind the rumors, but his history of betrayal made his words carry little weight by this point. Fans were no longer just watching, they were choosing sides. Hashtags trended online, with some calling for Yandy to clear her name and others demanding Rasheeda walk away from Kirk for good. The drama had spilled beyond television screens and into living rooms across the country, pulling viewers into the emotional chaos as if they were part of the family themselves. The tension reached a peak one night when Mendeecees was said to have stormed out after another explosive argument, leaving Yandy alone and devastated. Neighbors reported seeing him leave the house in the middle of the night, his face twisted with frustration. "He looked like a man on the edge," one witness recalled. The scandal had become more than gossip. It was tearing apart relationships, shaking the foundation of marriages, and pushing friendships past the point of repair. And as the dust settled on yet another heated confrontation, everyone involved was left wondering whether the truth would ever come out or if the damage had already been done beyond repair. As the days passed, the tension refused to fade. Every public appearance, every social media post seemed to fan the flames further. Fans dissected each caption, each story, and even the emojis, trying to decode hidden meanings and secret messages. Insiders say that Yandy started avoiding public events, claiming she needed time to process everything. But those close to her whispered that the pressure was unbearable. The weight of suspicion, whether deserved or not, was crushing. And her usually composed demeanor began to show cracks, Mendeecees still struggling with his own anger and disbelief. Reportedly confided in a few close friends that he didn't know how to handle the situation. "I'm losing control," he allegedly admitted. "I've always believed in standing by her, but now I feel like everything is slipping through my fingers." His friends concerned for both him and Yandy tried to offer guidance, suggesting private counseling or a temporary retreat from the public eye. But the pair was already caught in a storm too turbulent to escape. Diye, on the other hand, seemed to grow stronger, though her composure was misleading. She began to strategize, weighing every move Kirk made, every glance he threw her way. According to a source, she told a friend, "I've learned not to jump to conclusions. But I've also learned not to ignore my instincts. If something is happening, I will find out." Fans admired her resolve, but some feared her determination might push her into confrontations that could escalate beyond repair. Kirk remained the most enigmatic of the four. He was spotted several times meeting with mutual friends and confidants, allegedly trying to control the narrative. "He's trying to stay calm, but I can see the guilt, or at least the worry, behind his eyes." One insider claimed he knows that if any of this comes out publicly, it could destroy everything he's built. His movements were subtle, almost too careful, leading to speculation that he was hiding more than he let on. The turning point, according to those close to the cast, happened during a private dinner where all four were unexpectedly in the same room. Tensions that have been simmering finally boiled over. Yandy reportedly confronted Kirk directly, her voice trembling with a mix of fear and fury. "We need honesty," she said, eyes locking onto his. "If there's something between you and me or someone else, you tell me now, Kirk. unusually silent, reportedly avoided eye contact, prompting Mendeecees to step forward protectively. The room reportedly exploded with accusations. Mendeecees allegedly shouted, "I've given you everything and this is how you repay me." With lies and betrayal, Rasheeda, whose patience had been tested countless times, suddenly interjected, her tone icy. "I'm done playing the fool. If anyone here is hiding something, it stops tonight." The confrontation, according to eyewitnesses, was chaotic with voices overlapping, tears falling, and emotions spiraling out of control. After the dinner, the aftermath was felt immediately. Insiders claimed Yandy withdrew even further, refusing interviews and turning off her phone at times to escape the relentless scrutiny. Mendeecees, meanwhile, was seen pacing late at night outside their home, his face etched with worry and frustration. Fans speculated endlessly about what was said during those private moments, fueling theories and debates that ran wild across social media. The scandal also started to affect the extended circle of friends and family. Mutual acquaintances were forced to pick sides, some siding with Yandy and Mendeecees, others with Kirk and Rasheeda. Parties and gatherings became awkward and whispers followed every movement. One source revealed that a recent cast lunch ended abruptly when someone mentioned the word rumor, leading to a silent standoff that lasted minutes before. Everyone pretended nothing happened. As the weeks wore on, the tension grew unbearable. Online conspiracy theories flourished. Some fans were convinced that Yandy was indeed pregnant and that Kirk was somehow involved, while others believed the whole situation was being exaggerated for views and attention. Every snippet of information, no matter how small, was scrutinized, and even the smallest missteps sparked viral debates. Hashtags trended, debates ignited, and every fan had an opinion. Meanwhile, the emotional toll on the individuals involved was immense. Sources reported that Yandy experienced sleepless nights, crying herself to sleep and replaying every interaction she had with Kirk and Rasheeda. Mendeecees, known for his patience, struggled to maintain his composure, reportedly confiding that he feared the scandal could undo years of stability and love. Rasheeda, always resilient, reportedly found herself at a crossroads, torn between protecting her marriage and confronting the possibility of betrayal. Kirk, ever the wild card, was said to be constantly calculating, attempting to navigate the chaos without revealing too much of himself. In one particularly dramatic incident, a mutual friend allegedly recorded a conversation between Yandy and Rasheeda where voices were raised and accusations flew like fire. Yandy supposedly pleaded, "You have to believe me. Nothing happened." While Rasheeda, or voice quivering, responded, "I want to believe you, but my heart tells me otherwise. How can I trust what I can't see?" The recording, which reportedly circulated privately among a small circle, added fuel to the fire and heightened public curiosity even further. The scandal's ripple effects extended beyond just the core four. Social media influencers, talk show hosts, and fans all began dissecting past episodes, looking for signs of tension, hidden glances, or awkward moments that might have foreshadowed the current chaos. Old interviews were replayed, deleted tweets resurfaced, and even subtle hand gestures from years ago were debated in viral videos. It became more than a story. It was a cultural obsession. Friends of the cast tried to intervene, offering advice, mediation, or even neutral ground for conversations. But sources said that pride, fear, and public scrutiny made reconciliation nearly impossible. Every move was watched, every word analyzed, and the pressure created cracks that only widened with time. Some insiders feared that this could lead to permanent estrangement between Yandy and Rasheeda, while others worried about the strain on Mendeecees and Kirk's relationship. Even the children of the families reportedly felt the tension. Sources close to the household claimed that innocent questions about friendships, dinners, or events were met with awkward pauses or subtle avoidance, creating a palpable sense of unease. Fans online expressed concern, noting that behind the glitz and drama, the emotional impact on family and children could be significant as weeks turned into months. The narrative refused to settle. Every day brought a new claim, a new angle, a fresh interpretation. And while no concrete proof ever emerged publicly, the swirl of speculation had already left permanent marks on relationships and reputations. Friends and family were left wondering whether the truth would ever fully come out, or if the story would remain an endless loop of suspicion, argument, and heartbreak. The situation, intense and volatile, continued to dominate headlines and feeds. The emotional roller coaster showed no signs of slowing, and each day brought fresh drama that only deepened the divide between those involved. Fans watched, debated, and analyzed, fully immersed in the chaos. wondering how a simple rumor could spiral into such a consuming storm. The months of tension seemed endless, and yet every small incident was magnified into a spectacle. A simple Instagram story, a casual comment during a reunion event, even the smallest emoji could ignite the rumor mill. Fans were relentless, dissecting every tiny detail to decide whether Yandy had crossed a line or if Kirk's involvement was purely imagined. The lines between reality and speculation blurred, creating a world where every glance, every word, every gesture became potential evidence. Insiders claimed that Yandy's personal circle was shrinking. Friends who once offered comfort now distanced themselves, unwilling to be caught in the whirlwind. "It's hard to watch her go through this," one close friend said. But people are scared of being associated with scandal. It's easier to step back. Mendeecees, feeling the isolation of public scrutiny, reportedly became more volatile, sometimes erupting over minor slights or imagined betrayals. The couple's home, once a sanctuary, had become a pressure cooker of emotions. Rasheeda, for her part, grew increasingly tactical. Sources said she began documenting interactions and keeping a mental log of Kirk's behavior, ready to confront any dishonesty. She was determined not to be blindsided again, and her resolve impressed fans while also intimidating those around her. She reportedly confided in a friend, "I've survived storms before, but this one feels different. I can't let it slip away without knowing the truth." Her vigilance became a driving force in the escalating drama, adding another layer of intensity to an already volatile situation. Kirk, meanwhile, found himself walking a tightrope. He appeared calm in public, but those close to him noticed subtle signs of stress, fingers tapping, eyes darting, a tension in his posture that hinted at sleepless nights. Fans speculated endlessly, posting theories and compiling timelines in attempts to predict his next move. Whether Kirk was hiding something real or simply caught in a web of perception, the effect was the same. Suspicion, doubt, and tension that threatened to consume everyone involved. One particularly explosive moment reportedly occurred during a charity event, where the four were forced to be in the same room. According to eyewitnesses, the air was thick with unspoken accusations. Yandy allegedly avoided Kirk entirely, her eyes fixed on the floor while Mendeecees hovered protectively nearby, his jaw tight with restraint. Rasheeda, calm yet icy, reportedly smiled only briefly at Kirk before turning her attention elsewhere, making it clear that trust had eroded beyond repair. Fans watching the footage replayed it countless times, reading tension in every step and glance. Each frame fueling more speculation. The pressure of constant public attention reportedly took a toll on Yandy's mental health. Sources close to her said she struggled with anxiety and bouts of depression, unsure of how to respond to the relentless scrutiny. "Every time I step outside, it feels like the whole world is watching, judging, and waiting for me to slip," she allegedly told a friend. Mendeecees, for his part, struggled to balance anger with empathy, torn between protecting his partner and managing his own feelings of betrayal and confusion. As the story circulated, old friendships began to fracture. Mutual friends who once acted as mediators started avoiding gatherings altogether. Not wanting to pick sides, and what had become a highly charged conflict, fans debated whether these fractures were temporary or if the fallout would leave permanent scars on the group's social circle. Speculation ran rampant, with some arguing that this scandal would redefine relationships forever, while others suggested it might simp. A turning point reportedly came when Yandy and Rasheeda were caught in an unscripted confrontation at a private dinner. Insiders claimed that voices were raised, accusations were hurled, and years of pent-up tension erupted in an explosive exchange. Yandy allegedly insisted, "You have to trust me." Nothing happened. While Rasheeda responded, her tone sharp and measured, "Trust has limits, and right now I have to protect myself and my family." The dinner reportedly ended in an icy silence, leaving mutual friends stunned and fans hungry for more details. Meanwhile, social media fueled the fire. Hashtags and fan theories trended, some supporting Yandy, others defending Rasheeda, and countless others simply speculating on Kirk's involvement. Every minor incident, like a photo of Yandy and Kirk laughing at a charity event, was dissected endlessly. Fans debated whether it was innocent or evidence of secretive behavior, proving that in the court of public opinion, perception often outweighs fact. Mendeecees reportedly reached a breaking point during one late-night confrontation. Sources said he accused Yandy of hiding the truth and dragging him into a scandal he didn't sign up for. "I'm tired of being caught in this mess," he allegedly shouted, pacing the room in frustration. Yandy, struggling to maintain composure, supposedly responded, "You think I want this? Do you really believe I would jeopardize everything we have?" The emotional intensity reportedly left both parties exhausted, with tears and silence replacing words. The scandal also began to affect professional relationships. Insiders claimed that producers, sponsors, and collaborators became hesitant to associate with those involved. Fearing backlash from fans and media, interviews were canceled, appearances postponed, and even casual social media interactions were scrutinized with suspicion. Fans expressed concern that the emotional toll could extend beyond personal relationships, impacting careers and reputations. Despite attempts to maintain normally, the family dynamics continued to strain under the pressure. Sources revealed that small interactions became loaded with tension, simple conversations turning into tests of loyalty and trust. Even shared meals reportedly became battlegrounds of unspoken accusations and subtle digs, creating an environment where no one could feel at ease. Friends who tried to mediate found themselves caught in the crossfire. Some attempted to offer neutral advice, suggesting private conversations or therapy. But the weight of public scrutiny and personal emotions made reconciliation nearly impossible. Insiders claimed that every attempted resolution seemed to create more drama, deepening the divide and escalating tension. Amid the chaos, fans remained captivated. Every social media update, every subtle interaction, and every rumored detail was analyzed to the fullest. Some argued that the scandal was a defining moment, revealing cracks in relationships that had seemed solid. Others insisted that it was nothing more than exaggerated gossip blown out of proportion by the lens of reality TV and online speculation. The debate was endless, feeding the narrative and keeping the story alive in the public imagination. As time went on, the emotional strain on all parties was evident. Yandy was reportedly seen leaving therapy sessions visibly upset, while Mendeecees struggled to keep his temper in check during private conversations. Rasheeda, focused on protecting her marriage, was increasingly wary of Kirk's actions, scrutinizing every interaction for signs of dishonesty. Kirk, attempting to navigate the chaos, remained calculated and reserved. Yet, sources noted subtle signs of tension in his body language that suggested he was not entirely at ease. The situation reached a point where fans began speculating about potential resolutions. Some believed that the truth would eventually come out, while others feared that permanent damage had already been done. Friends and insiders debated whether reconciliation was possible or if the scandal had created irreparable divides. The uncertainty only added to the drama, leaving everyone wondering what would happen next. Throughout it all, the public's fascination showed no sign of waning. Social media debates, news outlets, and fan forums dissected every development, ensuring that the story continued to dominate headlines. Even minor gestures like a casual smile or a glance between Yandy and Kirk sparked waves of speculation. Fans remained captivated, caught between curiosity and disbelief, eagerly anticipating the next revelation in a saga that seemed far from over. The intensity of the scandal only escalated as months went by, and with every passing day, the emotional stakes grew higher. Yandy reportedly became increasingly cautious in her interactions, aware that even the smallest misstep could be blown up into another headline. Friends described her as walking on eggshells, trying to maintain composure while feeling the full weight of suspicion pressing down on her. Mendeecees, meanwhile, struggled to navigate his own emotions. Torn between love, anger, and fear of betrayal, sources said he often retreated into private spaces to vent frustrations and process the relentless pressure. Rasheeda, determined not to be blindsided again, reportedly increased her vigilance over Kirk's behavior. Sources claimed she meticulously observed his actions, noting every slight delay in responses, every awkward glance, every moment that could hint at dishonesty. The strain on their marriage, already tested by past challenges, intensified as Rasheeda wrestled with fear and skepticism. Fans admired her strength and strategy, yet many also feared the mounting tension could lead to public confrontations that would spiral further out of control. Kirk, often calm under pressure, began showing subtle signs of anxiety. Insiders claimed he grew increasingly aware of the public's scrutiny, carefully choosing words, gestures, and appearances to avoid further controversy. Yet no matter how measured his actions, the rumor mill refused to slow. Every casual smile between him and Yandy, every brief exchange in public became fodder for speculation, feeding the frenzy that had long outgrown its origins. A particularly dramatic moment reportedly occurred during a charity gala where all four were in attendance. According to eyewitnesses, the tension in the room was palpable. Yandy maintained a composed exterior, but those close to her said her hands shook slightly, betraying inner turmoil. Mendeecees hovered protectively, his jaw tight as if bracing for confrontation. Kirk appeared unusually guarded, his eyes scanning the room. While Rasheeda carried herself with controlled intensity, clearly aware of every interaction, fans dissected the footage endlessly, interpreting glances, smiles, and gestures as evidence supporting their theories. The scandal also began affecting their wider social circles. Mutual friends were reportedly forced to choose sides. Attending gatherings became exercises in caution, and casual conversations turned into careful negotiations to avoid conflict. Some insiders noted that old friendships fractured under the pressure. Unable to withstand the constant stress and speculation, people don't want to get caught in the middle. One source said it's safer to say it. Emotional well-being became a growing concern. Sources close to her said she experienced intense bouts of anxiety, crying spells, and restless nights. She's trying to stay strong, but the constant scrutiny is exhausting. A friend reportedly said Mendeecees, while grappling with his own frustration, tried to support her. Yet the strain on their relationship was undeniable. Every interaction seemed to carry extra weight. Every word could spark an argument, and every rumor could threaten the fragile sense of stability they were clinging to. The drama reached another peak when insiders claimed that Rasheeda and Yandy had a private confrontation outside the public eye. Voices were reportedly raised, accusations hurled, and emotions ran so high that witnesses described the scene as electrifying and heartbreaking at the same time. Yandy allegedly pleaded, "You have to believe me. Nothing happened with Kirk." While Rasheeda responded, "I want to believe you, but trust isn't given freely, especially when past actions are considered." The confrontation ended without resolution, leaving both parties frustrated and emotionally drained. The ripple effects extended beyond the immediate circle. Fans analyzed every social media post, every public appearance, and every interview for hidden meanings. Theories flourished, some insisting the scandal was fabricated to generate attention. Others convinced that the underlying truth was far more dramatic than anyone could imagine. Every detail, no matter how minor, was scrutinized, feeding a continuous cycle of speculation and commentary. Mendeecees reportedly reached a breaking point after yet another argument, feeling caught between defending Yandy and confronting the reality of public perception. Sources said he vented to friends late at night, expressing frustration and despair over how the situation had escalated. "I don't know how much more I can handle," he allegedly admitted. Yandy, meanwhile, tried to reassure him, but the emotional toll had already begun to strain their connection. Even Kirk, often considered the most composed, could not escape the pressure. Insiders reported that he grew increasingly guarded, aware that any misstep could reignite speculation. "He's constantly thinking 2 steps ahead," one source said. But no matter what he does, the narrative seems out of his control. The combination of public scrutiny, personal relationships, and persistent rumors created a tense environment where trust and communication were constantly tested. Despite attempts at resolution, the scandal continued to dominate headlines. Every minor gesture, a brief conversation, a shared laugh, or a seemingly innocent text was magnified and interpreted as evidence of deeper drama. Friends and family reportedly struggled to mediate, but with